Hello, world. This is America's Supermom, and this is a special edition that I call the Corona Chronicles. During this time, we are suffering from a pandemic that is affecting everyone across the world. We are joined with the rules and regulations of being shelter in place, which means we are limited with the ability to go about our daily business, confined to our homes based on a coronavirus that has been sweeping the entire world. For some people, the effects could be mild. For others, it can be fatal. So we are coming together as a community, as a family during this time of difficulty to share what it is like in our part of the world, how we are affected, and the things that we have in common, what kind of problems that are taking place in our industries and in our relationships and finances, and coming together so that we can plan for a better tomorrow. As this epidemic or pandemic crosses the world, we are waiting for relief. We're waiting for the virus to die off and for us to go back to some state of normalcy, whatever that may be, after things kind of settle down. So, what is that going to look like once the dust settles? How are things going to be different? So, as we go through this process, we're coming together as a world to create ideas, strategies, connect in ways that we have never connected before. So, that is the purpose of the special podcast that I call the Corona Chronicles, so that we can get some insight and have empathy and compassion on one another, create new innovative ideas that can not only improve our life, but our fellow brothers and sisters across the world. Thank you so much for joining us.
So I just want to thank you guys for joining us today. I'm really excited about my next guest, Dr. Davia. Am I pronouncing your first name right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Shepherd. We connected some time ago through Facebook groups, and I'm really excited to have a dialogue with her today, especially in lieu of this pandemic and what a lot of people are experiencing. So, the topic she has in mind is burnout to brilliance. So, I'm really excited to dive into that topic because I think it's very relevant today with many of us who are going through job transition or just kind of juggling life in a new way, just in general. So at this time, I'm going to give Dr. Davia the floor so that she can introduce herself, kind of give us a little history on her, and then we'll dive into this burnout to brilliance.
Good morning. Hi, America's Supermom. Thanks so much for having me. And just to introduce myself, I'm Dr. Davia Shepherd. I spend a lot of my time working with patients who have pain, headaches, neck pain, and back pain. But my deepest passion is really to help anybody who invites me to appreciate that we can live our optimal lives. Don't have to really, we don't have to struggle in life. We can be healthy, we can be happy, we can have great careers, we can have amazing finances, we can do all the things that we want to do, and that they're just a couple of steps that take us there. So that's who I am, and I'm happy to be talking to you today.
Awesome. Now, so we connected organically through your Facebook group. So I guess I'll start there because a lot of people are kind of going through this whole change of the environment when it comes to networking. We're used to live events and now everything's online. So, talk to us about your group and what are some tips that you could give somebody just with networking, under this new landscape?
Thanks, Lachelle. So I about 7 years ago, just a group of us, a really small group of us, I think we were 7 women, and we were all women who were either in corporate positions of oversight or we had our own businesses, but we all had families and we all were friends with each other and we all were super busy. And so we kept trying to have lunch together.
Hmm.
And for the life of me, Lachelle, we couldn't make it happen. Like nobody's calendar would sync. And so finally we got this one day, and it was a Monday, and we got together in a Ruby Tuesday on Route 6 in Connecticut. And we thought to ourselves, after having such a wonderful, uplifting lunch together, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could do this more often? So I had a brilliant idea, and it really wasn't my idea. It was really an idea from Source that said, why don't we just put it on the calendar? And why don't we say every third Monday of the month, we'll meet together? And if you can make it, great. And if you can't, we'll see you next time that you can. And always bring a friend if that is at all possible. And we went from 6 women meeting in a Ruby Tuesday to over 1,000 women now on our list of women who come in and out of our meetings. We meet once a month. We have retreats, we have conferences, we have summits, we have all these wonderful things. And of course, we have a Facebook community where people can come and share about their businesses or share about the things that they would like support on, and just be together in that wonderful group setting. So we've always been appreciating how much the collective supports the individual, and how very much having a group that supports you, whether it's during times of adversity or it's during our usual day-to-day lives, that having that support of the collective actually offers you the advantage of something that's so much bigger than just you as an individual. So I'm always, whether it's now that we're in times that are a little unusual, or whether it was before when things were status quo, I have always been an advocate of networking, getting together, supporting each other.
So good. And I love this concept because you all saw a situation that you both were, well, that everyone was dealing with, and you found a way to come up with that support. So for people who are in this space, I know I've done a lot of trainings and Facebook groups with moms who are juggling working from home and dealing with homeschooling their kids. When you're seeking support, what are some tips that you could give the audience to reach out? Because a lot of times, like you said, all the women were busy. You kind of don't realize what's going on. So, what are some ways that they can kind of start that ball rolling?
One of the things that we sometimes don't realize is that the things that bother us, the things that we consider to be problems, we think we're the only ones who have those concerns. And guess what? We are never alone. There are always other people who are either sharing the concerns that we have, or they've been through it before and they have things that they can share with us that can help us to get through it too. And so one of my very favorite mentors, her name is Darla Ledoux, she likes to say, always have an embarrassing amount of support. Whenever you feel like you have too much support, that's when you need even more support. Always, 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 we have an idea that we should be doing it alone and pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps and really being the one to do everything, especially for those of us who are caregivers or moms or
Mhm.
that sort of thing. We really have that belief, and society, in my opinion, has really drilled this into us. We've learned it from our moms, and our moms have learned it from their moms, that we're here to take care of everybody and do all the things. And guess what? We are, but that doesn't mean that we have to do it alone. And
Right.
so my number one recommendation would be reach out. Don't feel uncomfortable reach out because there is support out there for you.
I love that. Okay, so let's dive into the burnout to brilliance. So, a lot of people are struggling with, I wouldn't even say burnout right now. Some of them are overwhelmed, but that could be one of the byproducts of burnout. You're overwhelmed, you're stressed, you're feeling depression, not having clarity. So, what are some tips to make that transition from burnout to brilliance?
Well, I think that this is such a great conversation to be having during this time because it is a different time. It is an unusual time. But what my experience has shown, and I'm sure, Lachelle, your experience has shown exactly the same thing, is that when you're challenged significantly, that's when you get the greatest transformations taking place. It's like, and I don't want you to in any way misunderstand me because I know for sure that there are a lot of things that are happening right now that we would prefer to be different. I mean, even in my very own family, we've had losses as a result of what is happening. But yes, thank you so much. And I mean, my heart goes out to everybody who's having a difficult time during this time. But I am here to reassure us that even though we're experiencing what appears to be a challenge, we have an opportunity there too for a great transformation. And I like to use the example of what I think was my most challenging time in my life and how it completely changed the way I looked at life, and it completely changed the trajectory of not only my life but my business, Lachelle. I mean, if you'd met me 10 years ago, you'd be talking to a completely different person on so many levels because, for one, like I said, I'm a doctor who treats patients who have pain, and I was in excruciating pain in my office. I was on crutches. I couldn't even walk without them. It was so bad.
Wow.
Terrible. And of course, like I was saying before, we have this idea as caregivers that our needs don't necessarily matter as much as everybody else's needs. And so I was in my office with this extremely fake smile on my face, treating everybody day in and day out. I was doing all the things for everybody except for me. One of my mentors likes to say that I had a toxic sense of self-sufficiency. And I love those words because I feel like it's something that we're trained to, that's how we're trained to be. And I'm really embracing that is not where I am anymore. And I remember one of our patients saying to me, and now I know this was the voice of Source speaking to me because I wasn't listening, saying to me, "Doc, you need to go and take care of yourself." Because the signs were all there, but I wasn't doing it. So the message had to come in a way that I would hear it. And I'm one of those overachievers. Remember those kids back in school, the ones who would be at the front of the class, hands up, answering all the questions, always getting the straight A's. I'm a recovering overachiever.
Right. Absolutely.
And my office is always open for patients 6 days a week until 6 o'clock at night. I'm here, here to help, rain, shine, snow, sleet. Kind of like the post office, you could depend on my office being open. And I closed my office that day and I went and I saw doctor number 7 because I'd been to the doctor a number of times for what was going on. And the whole thing started when I felt like I was getting everything I wanted in my life. For one, I had been working at a practice that was over an hour away. I got a new job that was just 20 minutes from my house. My family, we'd struggled with infertility. I finally had my baby. So my baby was a couple of months old at the time. You know, I was doing all the things, and my beautiful, beautiful baby, Michelle, and I know you're going to have advice for me about sleep training, but my baby wouldn't sleep through the night, not even one time, for 18 months straight. So here I was
Mm,
at the tail end of that 18 months, and I was exhausted. I would
mm,
be up every 2 hours at night with my baby, and then I'd be bright eyed, bushy tailed, fake smile on my face,
mm,
treating with patients all day long, and then back to it again at night. So I was really not treating my body well.
mm-hmm,
Obviously not losing the baby weight because my poor body didn't even know
mm-hmm,
whether it was coming or going. So guess what I thought was the best thing for me to do in that moment?
mm.
Obviously, I had to restrict calories and start training for the Hartford Marathon.
Oh my goodness.
Lost my mind, right? So anyway, I mean, I saw all these different doctors. Finally, when I went to see doctor number 7, she told me what I kind of knew, but I was kind of in denial. She told me
Mm-hmm,
that my problem was autoimmune. Basically, I had stressed my body to the point where it just wasn't functioning anymore. And
mm-hmm,
so, and this is what I want to say to you and to really say to your audience. This was like a really, really low point for me.
mm-hmm,
I would say I was at rock bottom at that point, and then getting an autoimmune diagnosis. I don't know any patient who's ever gotten an autoimmune diagnosis and felt like, oh, great, this is awesome. I really think it's
mm-hmm.
one of the diagnoses that you get, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to live with this for the rest of my life. This is terrible. But a couple of things stood out for me. Yes, my baby needed sleep training. It wasn't the time to train for a marathon. But
Mm-hmm.
the number one thing, and this is what I want your listeners to take away, is that I'd gotten into that habit of having to do everything myself.
Mm-hmm.
Always. I
Mm-hmm.
was a workaholic. I had derived identity from the work that I was doing. And
Mm-hmm.
that is never a good thing. And it's still something that I work on every day. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
um I hear a lot of speakers talking about how they went from this bad situation to now everything is rosy and beautiful. And I want to say that my experience is a little bit different. It's something that I work on every day, and I have to keep reminding myself not to fall back into old patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just me. But I don't know, how is all of this landing for you? Is
Go ahead. I was going to let you finish the question.
No, I was just wondering, do you think that this is information that's really beneficial for your
Absolutely.
listeners?
Absolutely. Because I think, that's one of the things that I struggled with my depression was the whole thing. I love the piece you brought up about you derive your identity from the work that you did. And so many people, this is where they're floundering because maybe their job that they've been doing for years, it's changing, in front of them, so you're going from live events to things online. It's learning new software or new apps that they're not familiar with. Then you also add to that some people may be displaced. So a job that they've been doing for 20 years, now this job is being done away with. So that whole piece of being able to recognize that you are more than the role you play is so important. So what was it that you did to kind of separate the two and kind of begin this journey of building yourself back up? Because that could be a low point for a lot of people right now.
Of course, absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you that there were two things that changed everything.
Mhm.
One, I had to remember, I had to rediscover that I'm always supported by source. And
Mhm.
this is something that has become just such a centerpiece of my life now. And
Mm-hmm.
so I never feel alone, and no matter what's going on, and things have changed here in our practice, right? Because for
Mm-hmm.
one, we're essential. So our job right now is to keep the pain patients out of the emergency room. But at the same time, we're also not supposed to be seeing patients in a certain age range. And so that has changed a lot of things. We're doing a lot of things, telemedicine, we're disinfecting within an inch of our lives over here. I mean, it's crazy. Things have completely changed. And any day that I really feel as though, oh my goodness, this is getting overwhelming, my number one reminder to myself is that I'm not alone. I am supported by
Mm-hmm.
Source. And then my number two reminder is that I have a strong, supportive community. And so I can phone a friend. I can
Mm-hmm.
pop into our Facebook group. I can talk with my wonderful, wonderful staff, my family. I am really taking this time to nurture the community that I have around me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I would say there's a number three thing that I do as well, and that is I have a practice that I do every single day because I have come to understand that the way I feel doesn't need to rely on the things that are going on around me. My peace has to come from within. And it doesn't just come automatically, Lachelle. It's a practice.
Right.
It's something that I have to practice every day. And in building it, that practice into my daily routine, that's what gets me through these times. That's why I can look at what's going on right now and know that we're all going to be okay.
That's so good. Now, so what are some things that you do in this daily practice? I think that's key.
Well, like I said, it has to start with asking yourself what you really believe. And do you believe that what you feel on the inside has to be dictated by what's going on the outside? And I invite everybody to really challenge this idea.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a moment maybe later, just close your eyes and think about something that you're so, so grateful and happy about. I like to close my eyes and think about my babies because I feel like they're the best things that have ever happened to me. And when I start talking about them, you could probably hear the smile on my face right now because
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
they are everything. But if you notice, you can get that feeling of joy even without the object of your joy being in the room with you. So you know for sure that what you feel doesn't have to rely on what you're looking at. And so once
Mm-hmm.
you are firm and solid in that belief, then I would say it's just a matter of practicing that feeling as often as possible. My routine is morning routine. Everybody is different. I start my
Mm-hmm.
morning. I like that little space when you wake up in the morning, when you realize you're awake, but kind of before you've launched off into organizing your day and getting carried away. There's that little space. And when I catch myself in that space, my first thoughts are always going to be thoughts of gratitude. And then I go into doing my meditation, doing some exercise, doing some journaling, listening to or reading something that's affirmational, something that gives me some positivity to move into my day. And I find I'm not saying that when I do these things that it makes my day change and be suddenly unicorns and butterflies. But what I have found is that it eases the bumps in my day. It makes it
Mm-hmm.
a whole lot easier when I do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to do it every single day. And life happens. And there are days when my baby wakes up early and I have to go take care of him. And there
Mm-hmm.
are days when I have to rush into the office for earlier than I had planned, and things happen. But for the most part, and the majority of my days, that's how I started. And when I constantly practice that routine of what feeling good feels like, then
Mm-hmm.
I can pull on that feeling when
Mm.
something's not going great. Does that make sense for you?
That that makes so much sense. That's good. I love that. We practice what feeling good looks like. That's awesome. So, what are some books that you would recommend that people kind of take a look at, or podcasts, or anything that just kind of, use their time with these days to kind of, have that positive outlook?
I like to look at things that I find to be uplifting, but I also like to
Hmm.
look at things that make me smile, and I love to have fun. I think that when we become grown-ups, suddenly we forget how important fun is in our
Hmm.
lives. And I feel as though if we were having more fun, then
Hmm.
we would not be having as many of the things that we consider to be problems in our lives. They would show up in a different way. Instead of them showing up as problems, they would just show up as questions to which we're looking for an
Hmm.
answer. And that's a totally different energy from a problem energy.
Hmm.
I like to, this is going to sound really, really weird, but I like to look at cat videos on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, that's popular. That is so popular. Yeah.
Panda videos are great. They're so hilarious and so cute. Love to look at those
Okay.
too.
Okay.
There is there are lots of podcasts that are very uplifting that are out there. There also another thing that I like to do right now is I like to listen to audiobooks. And so
Hmm.
there are a lot of books out there that I always wanted to read, uplifting motivational books that are available on Audible, so I can listen to them while I'm working, or I can listen to them in my car. Those are some of the things that I like to do to keep my energy levels up.
That is so awesome. Now, and what is the best way for everybody to get a hold of you?
So it's so easy to get hold of me. I am very, very accessible. You can just hop on to www.chatwithdrdavia.com,
Hmm.
and I am at the end of that rainbow.
All right. Okay. And any final words that you want to share with everybody?
Yes, I 100% believe in the power of the collective. I believe that when we are together, we are able to achieve so much more than we are able to just on our own. And so, if you take nothing else away from this talk today, I would say find a group of uplifting, like minded people and really be a part of it. Really put your all in it. Really see who you can help in the group. And in helping others, I promise you that you will also be uplifted.
Love that. That is so true. And I definitely second that, coming from experience myself. Well, I want to thank you so much for today. This has been a wonderful chat, and I love the nuggets that you have shared with the audience. And I have several pages of notes, believe it or not. I love being able to uh, extract those nuggets in every conversation. So I want to thank you for collaborating with me on this, and looking forward to us talking again soon.
Thank you so much, Lachelle. Have a wonderful day.
All right, you too.
What a great interview. And so many nuggets that I can't even really begin to address them all. Um, Two things, though, that stress can affect anybody. As you could see, this interview was with a doctor. Oftentimes we think everybody in certain titles or positions or roles are not affected by stress or have problems that we feel that we have ourselves. The next thing is collaboration. Collaboration, collaboration. I cannot express that enough myself. So, as a mother of 15, realizing that, it takes a village, so to speak, to accomplish many tasks. and being able to run life uh, in terms of a collective unit or as a well-oiled machine only by the ability to delegate, to share the load with all those that may be involved. So, two key takeaways that I think are very important to highlight. So, I hope you all were able to, extract those nuggets from our conversation. If you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, please email me at info@LachelleAtkins.com, or you can reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, or my YouTube channel. So again, I want to thank you all for listening. If something about this interview resonates with you, I just ask that you share it with a friend, colleague, coworker, just somebody who you feel might benefit from the content so that we can continue to challenge ourselves to be better versions of ourselves. Thank you for listening.